would it be feasible for somebody like myself to drive around the world? And the answer slowly became yes.
Say 100 people have contacted me with the dream of driving around the world. Of those 100 people, one has gotten to the start line.
People with disabilities can achieve great things.
Mike needs a vehicle like that because it's who he is. He needs power, he needs strength, he needs speed.
Yesterday was bar none the toughest driving I've ever done in my life.
He'd collapse almost completely. Like, he'd be utterly exhausted.
I'm physically beat, I'm emotionally wiped out. Whoever said driving around the world was easy.
Saturday, August 18th, day 153, was almost twice as long as any other due to a 17-hour eastwardly flight, which took us halfway around the world. I couldn't wait to get out of my dirty clothes, have a long hot bath, and rest.
It's talking about abilities rather than disability.
El reto porque se trata de enseñar lo que puede uno hacer aún con discapacidad en lugar de todo lo que no podemos hacer.
And of course, I love to drive.
Y me encanta además manejar.
One of my worst fears had been realized when I was turned on my side in bed, and Christine noticed that I had developed a very serious pressure sore on my backside, one of the most devastating symptoms of paralysis. This is precisely what led to the premature death of my friend, actor, and quadriplegic Christopher Reeve, only in his early 50s.
You know, a great loss to me personally, as I counted him as a friend, a tremendous loss to society, but an incredible loss because Christopher really was an ambassador pushing the boundaries to the whole disabled community. He's going to be known for generations to come.
In a moment, in a heartbeat, your life can change, and yet you find when it changes that there are reserves of strength that you can call on to go forward, that nobody exemplifies that better than Mike.
The following Monday morning, I relayed the bad news to our home office and to Dr. Dan DeForge at the Rehabilitation Center in Ottawa to get his medical opinion. To help him make a more accurate diagnosis of the severity of the skin breakdown, George and Christine took some digital photos of the sore and emailed them to Dan. Upon reviewing the photos, I was advised to stay off the sore as much as possible and assess its condition daily. I couldn't rest for long as we had pressing engagements which had been planned for months, and I just couldn't let the organizers down. On day 155, we were picked up and driven to the Canadian Embassy for our very first event in Mexico. I took part in a media conference hosted by the Canadian Ambassador Keith Christie and attended by numerous media outlets and some representatives in wheelchairs from a large Mexican organization called Vida Independiente Mexico.
Spinal cord injury primarily is active people between the ages of 18 and 24, 25.
Later that afternoon, we visited the National Rehabilitation Center. At the hospital, we were also greeted by the director, Dr. Los Angeles Barbosa, some of his colleagues, and given a comprehensive tour of their institution. I quickly went from visiting guests to outpatient when they agreed to one of their clinicians examine my pressure sore. Dr. Susana Martin del Campo Arias confirmed that I had developed a grade 2 sore and recommended a minimum of 3 to 7 days of bed rest and continual monitoring.
Es un grado 2.
I took the doctor's advice and spent the next 4 days in bed.
Well, it's been a difficult last 4 days, quite simply because I have been on my back in bed on my side. So it's nice to get out, be it on my stomach.
Very relaxing.
We'd received word from the air freighting forwarding company that the truck had finally arrived in Mexico City, and certain important paperwork would need to be completed prior to taking possession. Ricardo picked us up in his Suburban and drove us to the forwarding representative, Judith, who was located in a small house which appeared to be a home business in the suburbs near the airport. I presented her with all our relevant documents, including the carnet de passage, and she went back into her office for about 15 minutes.
Your credit card is your guarantee for the hologram. They put the hologram in the window. That allows you as a temporary importation, exportation.
Yes.
Plus, it makes sure you come into the country and go out of the country.
She returned to say that there were muchos problemas and that the Mexican government would not let us on the road without a temporary transit hologram, which could of course take up to 3 days to obtain.
One way or the other, we have to drive the vehicle away today. There's no
Yes,
choice.
yes.
We have major commitments in California.
I told her that we had a tight schedule of events ahead and assured her that all our paperwork was in order.
We right now have an irrevocable letter of credit from the bank, good for 5 years for the value of the vehicle.
During 15 minutes of frantic phone calls, we spoke to Pierre Swed at the Canadian Embassy, Maria at the Mexican President's office, and even the Home Office back in Canada.
Entonces, ahorita que te diga más o menos en cuánto tiempo llega.
And I'm so worried, with all this going on, here I'm sitting on my bum and I shouldn't be.
Our diligence paid off when Pierre faxed over a new letter from the Canadian Embassy, guaranteeing that the vehicle was not for importation, but was being used solely for the challenge. This formality seemed to satisfy Judith, and she cautiously agreed to release the truck to us. We then drove to the air freight bonded area near the airport, which was a madhouse of people, trucks, forklifts, coming and going in all directions. I drove through a final customs inspection, and just like that, I was back in the driver's seat on Mexican roads. Mexico City, home to more than 20 million people and at least as many cars, took us 2 hours of fighting traffic just to leave the urban center. We'd planned to stay the night in the city of Chihuahua, but I got this burst of energy and we decided to keep going. Before I knew it, the time was 11:30 p.m. To play it safe, we pulled into the Cactus Roadside Motel at Villa Ahumada after a grueling drive of more than 1,000 kilometers. Day 162, we awoke to a bright blue sky and were so excited to realize that we were only 200 kilometers away from the Mexican-US border. We enjoyed a smooth and a fast jaunt to Ciudad Juarez, the town on the Mexican side of the border line. We worked our way through the busy and cluttered town and then joined hundreds of other trucks and cars lined up at the border.
Mexico sort of was, big, sudden, interesting changes, just because unexpected developments with the pressure sore and that kind of thing.
What's this? Avoid?
So what documents do you want to have ready here right now?
Just everything.
Chris, you want to get the passports ready?
We were greeted by a very friendly border guard who asked me 3 basic questions and then said, "Thank you, have a nice day." So very American.
Finally, we're in the United States. It took all of 20 seconds of question and answer. Got through the American border. Excellent. Easiest border crossing so far out of the whole world.
On August 27th at exactly 11:05 a.m., we crossed into El Paso, Texas. At long last, it was adios Mexico, Hello, United States of America. Well, if you've enjoyed Mexico, you're not going to want to miss out on the USA.
That bolt's gonna have to be replaced.
Thank you. All right. Thank you.
Please remember that people with spinal cord injuries are suffering more than ever during this global pandemic. And this is the time when our 3 vital charities need your support. Please show your care and donate generously. Thank you for watching. Stay safe and see you further down the road as the challenge continues in the United States of America.